Hi, welcome to my demonstration today, which is expressing the fresh figurative portrait. And I'm want to share with you this experience and my approach to painting portraits. Some of the goals I have today would be to use limited palette and limited colors to design a painting, not just a portrait, but a painting. And I want it to be fun. That is one of my main goals, is to have this be fun for you. One thing I wanted to do also is show you warm-ups with the colors. Here you can see my drawing for the portrait. This is my photograph that I have that I put right up here so that I can see it. I like to have a real photograph. And then this is one that I did, the original one that I did of her, and thought that this would be, I thought it would be a nice easy one. Well, we'll see. And I practiced yesterday with trying to do a portrait, a painting of her. So it gave me a little security about trying this. So, okay, before I do this, I want to show you, I do draw freehand, and I do a lot of warm-up lessons, although I don't have time to show you that here with all the drawing lessons. But at least you know that I do exercises and lots of drawings to warm up. I don't really like to trace, it's just the way I am. But if you're doing a portrait commission, you probably need to trace. Now what I do is once I come up with a drawing, and I will show you that right now. This was my drawing. It was a 4-minute warm-up, if you can see it. Anyway, I liked the drawing because it captured something. So what I can do is trace this on the light box. This is my own drawing, it's freehand, and I trace it, and this is how I come up with. I traced that, and then I took the photograph, looked at it, and brought more of the character of the girl out. Okay, I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to use the triads, which is Aurelian, Permanent Rose, and then the two of them together make orange. Over in the corner is Cobalt, Janet's Violet Rose. So I have that there. And then on this side, I have a darker triad, but it's the warm colors. It's alizarin permanent, alizarin crimson, and quinacridine gold. And then we have the alizarin crimson and quin gold together making a darker orange. Okay, that's the one palette. So you see a lot of colors here, but I don't always use them. Then on this palette up here, I have Aurelian yellow and cobalt blue makes green. That's my light triad. And see, if you follow this up, these two will be the light palette. It's the Permanent Rose, and the blue I use is over here in this section. I wanted to show you, this is cobalt blue, ultramarine blue, and I sneak a couple in here. It's cerulean blue hue and sky blue. Okay, there, or you could use cerulean blue. They're my blues. You notice I keep them by themselves. There's a reason for that, and I just don't want them encroaching onto my colors. Okay, this is the lighter triad. Aurelian yellow, Aurelian permanent rose, and the two of them mixed together make an orange. The other the rest of the triad is the cobalt blue right here with the Aurelian yellow, and that makes green. I can show you right here. It's green. And then we have cobalt blue and permanent rose, which makes a beautiful violet. I love that color, and I'm going to use that quite a bit. Now the other side, as I told you, is permanent alizarin crimson, quinacridine gold, and the two of them together make a dark orange. And then on following up here with this ultramarine blue, we have ultramarine blue and quinacridine gold making a dark green. So you can see the color as I pull it out there. And you can see the color, the darker purple is ultramarine blue and permanent alizarin crimson. So there's just 6 colors with this, except for these cerulean blue colors here. They're kind of, and I do sneak this one in. It's Janet's Violet Rose, and it's the best color ever made, but I'm not pushing it. Okay. The reason I mention that is there's other colors you could use that would be close to it, but none that is quite the same. I float that in on flush tones. Let me show you a little bit about how I would search for a flush tone. Okay, here's this is rough paper, Arches rough paper, 140 pound. I like the 140 pound. Just, well, for one thing, it's cheaper. For another thing, it takes the color immediately. It just seems to sit on the surface a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to apply that paint, and here comes the okay. I'm putting Janet's Violet Rose on top of it. Now I'm going to sneak a little bit of the cobalt blue in there. Yeah, that looks a little dirty to me, so I'm going to float in, and that looks dirtier. Oh well, let's put green in. No, it doesn't look good. Okay, I use paper towels too. You'll see me using paper towels. See? Okay, let's try another one. Let's try the cerulean blue, which is over here. Oh, maybe I don't have to do that anymore if you got the... Okay. Well, that's too bright. So I'm back to the Janet's Violet Rose. Let me float that in. So what the idea of this exercise is to try to get the same value with color shifting. Color shifting. So that it's all the same value. It's a little bright for flush tones, so that's my concern right now. But it's good to practice. It gives you, look, there's nothing worse than attacking a plain white piece of paper without knowing, you know, without warming up a little bit. It's like running or something, walking. If you don't stretch a little bit, it's a little harder. Okay, so maybe I should try a little lighter wash. That one's a little lighter with that Aurelian and permanent rose. Maybe I'll take a little permanent rose. Float that in. I'm just gently touching the paper, letting the pigment flow off. Okay, float. Now I'm floating Janet's Violet Rose over it. And that tones it down a lot with a little bit without it getting all dirty. Okay, take a little blue now, just a little bit. See, I was going too strong over there. I'm just out of control. Not that I would be out of control, but that's me. Okay, see, I'm lifting that edge too, so you can practice lifting edges too, softening edges, meaning you rinse, dry your brush, not completely dry, a little bit, and then lift that edge. Oh, by the way, this is rough paper, so it does take it a little bit better. I've been using 140 cold press, the back side of it, the rougher side of it, and then the other day I went in and found a whole bunch of rough paper, 140 pound rough paper, and I like that much better. I'm going to throw in some violet now just to see what happens. Well, that's a lot cooler, so that makes it, okay, I'm going to just put a little bit of permanent rose over top of it, calmed it down a little bit. All right, it's time. Anyway, just wanted to show you that. Okay, I'm just attaching it here. So I want this to be a fun type of thing. Let me just show you. I did bring along a few. To warm up, sometimes I have a little flower warm up. Did have a rose around here, but I think oh, here it is. Anyway, I warm up a little bit with flowers sometimes just to play. So without drawing, just kind of playing with color. So that's kind of a fun thing you can do. Looking at my photograph, the light is coming over here. Now I didn't really mark in where I was going to leave that light, but with the photograph, I can see, I usually just, well, you can see my little marks on there showing me where the shadow's coming. And I know from painting, sometimes I'll just put a little bit of dark so I know enough of where to leave the lights. Okay. I don't want it all to be marked up. So I'm just going to lift a little bit with this kneaded eraser. If you have to loosen this up, just take your kneaded eraser and just press down on it, and it'll lift a lot of that graphite off. So you don't want it to be getting mixed up into that first washes, because these are delicate washes and I want it to be translucent. That's my goal. Now I'm going to try a number, I guess a number 14 to start with. I'm not going to wet it first. I don't really like to wet it first. I'm going to just try this. I'm just going to go for it. Let me go in there. This is dry paper. Well, that's way too orange. So I'm taking a little bit of the Janet's Violet Rose or JVR. Okay. Maybe I'll use a little more yellow in there. But see, because I played around with the swatches, I just can't go in and do it. You know, I just have to play. So my method is, I'm going to play and get in trouble, good trouble, and see what happens. Let's see, I put in a little blue in there. I just don't know why I did that. I'm always in trouble. It's just part of life, I guess. I think with watercolor, the joy is getting out of trouble. No, that's too, okay, I don't like that. Okay, I'm going to lift that up. Okay. Sometimes I wish I wouldn't get in so much trouble. Wouldn't be quite so bad. I'm stepping back and looking at it as I'm applying it. I think I better have a little more paper towels. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I've got a little bit of roughness in there. I don't. Let's see. Yeah, it's probably. I can feel that the lights are drying this a little bit fast. Okay. I'm going to not panic. That's the main thing. You don't want to panic. I'll let you know. It's too pink. Too pink. Okay, let me put a little more blue over that. It's just a very light, that light cerulean blue. Okay, I don't want to have those hard edges, so I'm going to lift with my brush. I'm going to take the excess water off and lift. Maybe I'll try some sky blue. It's just, that's a little too strong. Okay, how about purple over it? Oh, she looks bruised. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm going back in. Because I've got too much water in here, it won't let me do what I want to do. So let's see if we can, oops. Okay, this is better. This feels just a little bit better. Okay. It should work the other way, but I'm trying to put more pigment in now, and maybe I can soak up some of that. I'm taking the edges and pulling them into the hair because I can get away with that. That way it won't pull into some areas. Her flesh tone is very, very pale. Yeah, I'm usually up a little more. Maybe I need to be up a little more. So I'm sorry if I'm raising that kind of funny, but I've got these lights are shining right. I don't know what I can do about that. I can't see. Okay. Let's see if we can change this around a little bit. Okay, that's certain. What I'm doing is painting the shadow shape in the head, and I'll go back in there. I'm afraid this is going to be too weak, but so I'm going to go push a little bit more of the color. Okay. Okay, you'll notice there's some hard edges there, and that's okay. I think I'd like to soften, just lift that edge there. So edges are important in this, and I don't mind a hard edge there. This is very light though, so we'll see. I think I'll go to a smaller brush. I'm going to a, what is this, a 12. Well, I've got a little bit of flow there, but Steve, can you tell if my head's hitting every time I bend over here? Is there some way you can check that? I'm going to have
it's set as well as it can for that.
Well, I mean, Can you just see whether I need to push up or, you know,
I'll try and see.
change it?
So far, so good.
Okay. It's not hitting?
No, not at all.
Okay, good.
I said I had it set nice.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Just trying to throw in more colors. So I didn't mean to get so wet in that shadow shape, but I did. So it's just something I'll have to deal with. But it's okay. Don't, you know, you can always start again because you always have that drawing. Now that purple's too dirty looking. I think it's the lavender color. I love the lavenders in faces, but it just was too, probably too cold. So I'm going to use the violet rose in there and warm that up a little bit. Okay, I think it needs some blue, so, oops, I'm going to just lift that a little bit. I saw color creep. That means it's running back. Okay, this is the hardest part, I think. It's when you have to go for it and think, what could, you know, what could go wrong? Well, a lot could go wrong. Whoops. I know I had one time somebody, you know, when I say oops, somebody in my workshops would say, "Oh, I'm glad you're not my surgeon." And I thought that was pretty funny. I'm just throwing that in there. Maybe I want things to be natural. So, you know, it's a little pink. She's a little pink. Oop, too orange. It's the Goldilocks rules. Oops, now I can see another creeping in here. I'm taking a dry paper towel. Oop. Okay, that didn't work. I've got a smush there, but you know what? I think I better ignore it, because if I pay attention to it, it'll just bother me. So maybe we'll have to distract the viewer. Okay. Meaning that maybe later I can put something over there and you won't notice it, or the viewer won't notice it. Okay, I'm getting a little pointy brush. I'm just putting a little color in there. Now I think I can also, because of this picture, and here I'm trying to leave the white parts, the parts that are very, very white, white. You can't see it. Okay. See those white spaces in there? I want to keep them white at this point. So I'm going to do that. Okay. Maybe I'll just put that right here. Now you can see how I've got to go over to the other side, and that's drying. That's a drying edge. So you have to be pretty careful not to get through there too close. I'm going to use a smaller one, like a 12 brush, round. And that's a little pink. I'm going to try not to copy that though, because I have to be careful. If you get into copying, it can be a little dangerous. Let's try, I'm going to go in with some green. I'm going in with a tight brush, a pointy brush. And I'm just getting some color, maybe a little yellow. The whites of the eyes, maybe let's get some flesh tone in there, and then drop in a little bit of the cerulean blue on top of it. I don't want it wet because I don't want it running into that area. Let me see. Yep. That might be too wet to get in there. We'll see. I'm trying to preserve the white, that little highlight in the eye. See how I did that right there? I don't know whether you could see me doing it. The camera isn't quite right. I don't know how to get this different. Trying to, maybe if I pull this down and over a little bit, see if I can get in closer. Okay, that's probably better. Let me just take, I'm just taking a little bit of that darker triad. It's the dark purple and the dark green puddles that I had here. And I'm going over. Okay. I think that's enough right now while it's drying. That didn't work too well. Okay. Well, I think I better get out. Okay, maybe I can get the top of this. Okay, just getting a little darkness there, trying to get that pupil in. Okay, a little more. Probably I might, maybe I shouldn't have gone in there. Okay, let me get that out of there. I think I'll come back when it's a little drier. And over there. Okay. Try a little bit of the alizarin crimson. On the nostrils, don't make any holes in the head dark. I mean cold. Put a little bit more warmth in there. And in the middle of the mouth, let's see. Okay. Okay, maybe I would love to try a little bit of the, I'm going back to a smaller round, maybe the browns. Let's see, I'm trying to mix a little bit of the dark orange in with that green, maybe in with the purple. I want to make a neutral, and I would like to get it in that. But I think the portrait is too wet in there, so don't go into a wet paint. think I'm done. I hope you enjoyed the demo, and I'm honored to be here with the Florida Convention, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the demo. Watercolorsbyrogers.com is our website, so you can go on there to find out any workshops. I teach workshops normally all the time. I'd like to invite you to are some of our online classes and workshops. So if you would be interested at all, please contact us. Janet at watercolorsbyrogers.com or Steve at watercolorsbyrogers.com. So you can go on our website and get that information. I thank you again for being with me for this video, and I hope you got something out of it. At least you learned an approach, and just remember to have fun with it.